And we also wanted to mention that if you are using an AI program to record or take notes for the meeting, that is completely okay. But we ask that you please do not direct message folks with links, as we cannot guarantee the security of those links. And with that, I will be passing it over to Melissa, who's going to talk about some other logistics. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Nat. That was second time, and that was amazing. Thank you for the opportunity to take a deep breath. Welcome everyone to day 4 and our final session of the 2023 Spring ELO-P Academy. We are very excited to offer you a great presentation today. Our panelists are amazing, and so we'll be jumping into that in a moment, but just wanted to go over a few reminders for today. As I mentioned, in a moment, we'll have our interactive session, and then we invite folks to stay to connect in our regional breakouts. So far, we're hearing really cool feedback that it's been a great opportunity to engage in dialogue with folks in neighboring regions or in the same region. And so we encourage folks to stay around for that. We'll transition around 2 o'clock and open up breakout rooms, and then the Zoom and our breakout rooms will all close and end at 2:30. That's when our session ends today. So folks will not need to come back to our main space. You'll be able to just leave from your breakout room when it's 2:30. So I'm going to move on. For folks that are engaging in social media, we just ask that you use the hashtag CAELO program. That's a great way to track all of the social media activity about all things California Expanded Learning Opportunities program. And then, of course, we are encouraging folks to join our spring ELO-P office hours. We just opened up registration, I believe, on this past Friday, and so our Thursday. And so folks are registering. This is a great way for you to ask some of those questions that are specific to your program or your county or your region, just to get extra guidance and support from other folks of sharing promising practices. So again, highly encourage folks to register for ELO-P office hours. And we'll add the link in the chat in a moment to sign up for office hours. And then also for folks who are not connected, we ask you to stay connected. We'll add our bit.ly link to join our listservs in the chat in a moment. And this will take you to subscribe to various newsletters that CAN offers. Our general newsletter also includes anything expanded learning opportunities related, so updates that might come from the California Department of Education. And also a great way to stay connected with folks from our system of support, which will bring me, I'll have a slide later to show you our system of support for expanded learning. Friday, March 31st, thinking today's Thursday. March 31st, Friday, is the last day for folks to complete the Power of Us workforce survey. It is essential for voices to be heard and be well represented. And so we're encouraging folks to share the link. You can scan the QR code, and we'll also drop the link and information in the chat in a moment on how to access the survey if you have not already, and share it with folks within your programs or your communities, regions, etc. All right, and so without further ado, I am excited to introduce our wonderful panelists for today. Mara Wold from Region 5, Monterey County Office of Education, Mark Drews from Sacramento County Office of Education in Region 3, and then Michelle Perrenoud from Los Angeles County Office of Education in Region 11. So in a moment, we'll transition folks into our presenters to start sharing screen and whatnot. And again, just wanted to say thank you for being here today as we close our academy. And I'm going to stop sharing and get us all ready to go. And we'll start pinning our panelists to get started.
Okay, let's try that again. Thank you so much, Melissa. I want to welcome everybody to Ignite Summer Learning ELO-P style. My name is Mara Wold. I'm the regional lead for Region 5 Expanded Learning based out of the Monterey County Office of Education. And today, along with my compadres here, we are your lead learners and camp counselors for today. I don't know about you, but here in Santa Clara County, it's very rainy in our region. In spirit of summer, I wore my Summer Matters t-shirt just to try to bring some sunshine into the room and into the space today. But to get us started, and before Mark and Michelle introduce themselves quickly, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Summer Matters campaign and give you a little bit of context and history for how all of this work on summer learning actually began several years ago. The Packard Foundation generously supported my colleagues who are on the panel today, as well as others who are in the room and grantees who are on the call, to really study and dive deep into what makes up a high quality summer learning program. Something very different than the traditional summer school model that we may be accustomed to from either our past as a kid, or if you're working in a current district running summer school. The look and feel was a little bit different in all those years that we studied the quality elements. So I just wanted to give a little bit of context and thanks also to some partners who were involved at that time, notably the Partnership for Children and Youth, as well as ASAP Connect. So with that, I'll turn it over to my fellow camp counselors, whoever wants to go first. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Camp Counselor Michelle, and it's really great to be here with you today. I am the regional lead for the Los Angeles County Office of Education Expanded Learning Technical Assistance Unit, which is Region 11. So we're really glad that you're here. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Camp Counselor Mark Drews. I'm with the Region 3 Expanded Learning team here at the Sacramento County Office of Ed, and glad to be here today. So let's go ahead and kick off Ignite Summer Learning ELO-P style. Here are the learning objectives that you should hold us accountable for today, the items that you should walk away with. I'm going to go ahead and let you read those by yourself. And if you can give me a thumbs up when you're done reading that. Okay. So here we have our North Star, our sort of compass that leads us on that pathway towards a high quality expanded learning program. This verbiage here is taken from the California Department of Ed Expanded Learning Division homepage. This is what keeps us grounded as we head forward towards that high quality expanded learning program. In the right-hand corner, you have Michael Funk, the director of the Expanded Learning Division at the California Department of Ed. He's spoken on the previous 3 ELO-P Academy sessions, and he challenges us all to lead with love. When we lead with love, amazing things happen. The connectedness between us and our stakeholders grows. The pathway towards quality becomes stronger. And the programs that our students and communities want, but not only deserve, are coming to a reality. Next here, we have these 2 documents. And I'm going to sort of put on my science cap here and talk about them as a connection between the human body systems. If we look at the quality standards on the right-hand side, there are 12 quality standards for expanded learning programs in the state of California. I think of that as sort of the skeletal system, right? This gives backbone to our high quality expanded learning programs. We have 6 point of service quality standards that when one walks into an expanded learning program in the state of California, this is what an expanded learning program should look like, feel like, and sound like for the different stakeholders in that program. And then we talk about the structure. What gives structure, form to the overall arching expanded learning program? That's the 6 programmatic standards. That gives us our mission, our vision, sort of our culture, our quality staff. And then we talk about the central nervous system, right? Over here, we have the LIAS, Learning and After School and Summer Principles. This is evidence-based about how expanded learning programs support our scholars' learning. So what are the 5 LIAS, Learning and After School Summer Principles? We talk about learning that's active. How can we integrate into every facet of our expanded learning programs the 4 different learning modalities that will provide access to the content of the day? We talk about learning that's collaborative. No one scholar has all the knowledge. We all have different learned experiences. So how can we create that reciprocal learning environment? And that's through collaboration. We talk about learning that's meaningful. What are the youth interested in? And then what, how does it make sense of the world around them? And then we talk about supporting mastery. Think of that sort of staircase scaffolding. We need project-based learning to give our students, our scholars, multiple opportunities to learn, to struggle, to fall forward as they learn new skills, strategies, and concepts. And then lastly, how do we expand horizons? Our students only know what exists in front of them, what exists in their community. How do we bring the outside world to them and also take them out for experiential opportunities to explore college and career pathways in hands-on inquiry-based ways? So we have the skeletal system, the quality standards, the nervous system, the LIAS principles, and then what brings that circulatory, respiratory, the sort of love, the heart, the breath into those systems? That's you, your students, your scholars, your staff, and then the community-based partners that you team up with. And no matter what we do, we can create the greatest plan, right? We put pen to paper, create the plan, but we need to look at it through the lens of the continuous quality improvement process. This process here, this diagram is brought to you by the National Summer Learning Association. So we put pen to paper. We've created our ELO-P program plan with our stakeholders. We've taken it to the governing board. The governing board has approved it. It's now posted on our website. And now the next part, the implementation, where magic happens. But before we get there, we need to go ahead and train the staff. We need to develop the staff's understanding of said skills, concepts that are going to be needed to create these experiential, hands-on, open-ended type of learning opportunities for our youth. We also need to have them buy in. We need to have them to create ownership of the program that our stakeholders not only want, but deserve. So after training, now we get to that implementation piece. The vehicle is moving even farther down that pathway. But as we progress, we need to build into that an assessment period of where we sort of review what does our program plan look like in the wild, right, in the implementation. So we start collecting data that will inform us of what are our successes, what's working well. Oh, maybe we're a little too ambitious on this end, and maybe there were some unintended consequences from our plan. So we're collecting that data, we're reflecting on it, and then making those modifications as needed. And we're not doing this just quarter one, quarter two, year one. We're doing this throughout the existence of our expanded learning programs. We're creating it as a part of our culture, right? Today's program isn't tomorrow's program. We can always improve on what we're offering our communities. And then lastly, just wanted, before I hand it over to another camp counselor here, just wanted to bring into frame that macro overview of what are the requirements of the ELO-P program, right? So we're offering it first and foremost to TK through 6 UP students. Who are those students? Those are students experiencing free and reduced price meals, those youth that are experiencing foster care and English language learners. We talk about offering a meal or snack requirement. We also talk about offering an enrichment literacy piece and an educational enrichment opportunity as well. When we look at the academic year, we talk about 180-day school year. What constitutes the 9 hours of an ELO-P program? Well, here's the formula for that. We have the core instructional day, which includes the minutes of recess and lunch, plus the before and after school expanded learning opportunities that you provide. Together, that constitutes a 9-hour day. Then we talk about intersession, but when intersession, we're going to talk about 30 non-school days. And what are 30 non-school days? That could be winter break, spring break, summer. It could be weekends, any non-school day. And the program has to be offered for 9 hours. And then just wanted to bring up for our rural frontier partners, our frontier programs, those requirements only are asked to be 8 hours a day, both for the academic year and non-school days. And I'll hand it off to Camp Counselor Michelle.
Thank you so much, Camp Counselor Mark. All right, folks, let's take a look at some data around summer. So research from Johns Hopkins University shows that children who aren't engaged in learning in summer actually have long-term learning loss. This graph shows the impact of this summer learning loss on children's reading achievement levels in elementary school. Middle income and low income youth progress at about the same learning rates during the school year. But the research found that while middle income children on average increase their reading level a small amount in the summer, children from low income families are losing more than 2 months in reading achievement levels over the summer. The gap widens every year and is nearly 3 years by 5th grade. And recent data suggests that the gap can be even wider now due to COVID. Next, we're going to be watching a video of a summer learning program. And while you're watching and listening to the video, what I want you to do is to look, listen, and make note for what elements you see and hear. So grab a pencil and find a piece of paper. I want you to focus on what you hear students saying, also what you hear educators saying, and what you notice about the environment. I'm going to be asking you to share what you noticed in chat after we watch the video together. So make your notes.
Before I started coming to the program, to be honest, I would just waste my summertime. I wouldn't read, I wouldn't study, I wouldn't write. I would just completely fall behind, and when school would come, I would be rushing and trying to study before school started so I wouldn't be that behind, but it was bad.
For years, high-quality summer programs have helped vulnerable students prevent summer learning loss. With the introduction of the Common Core, summer learning programs and expanded learning programs in general have the opportunity to help students front-load some of the skills that they're going to need in this new learning environment. The Common Core emphasizes collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and communication, and reinforces these skills with projects that integrate multiple subject areas. The classroom methods supporting these areas are already at work in many expanded learning programs across the state.
We are really focused on building around Common Core as we do our planning, so schools and administrators that we partner with can reap benefits of what they're doing over summer.
By breaking students up into smaller groups of maybe 4 or 6, you're able to foster that Common Core standard of being able to work collaboratively.
You guys are going to create a water filter. It's up to you and your group to decide how it works, okay?
What we try to have them do is design it and try it out, and if it doesn't work, rethink and see what they can fix.
Is it working?
Yes.
All right, we'll wait a little bit more. Do you guys see any dirt?
No.
Any oil?
No.
You guys did a pretty good job.
I'm successful.
We work with the teachers to make sure that their lessons are all inquiry-based, starting with a hypothesis, getting the students to develop the question, and then the teacher using questioning strategies throughout the activity.
Today's going to be continuing magnets. What do you think is happening in this picture?
They're repelling.
They're repelling. Okay, let's explore, campers.
We really give the challenges to the students and have them really have time to think about things. When they actually have to really stop and think and engage in the activity, it's really, the teacher's not going to give me the answers. I really have to do this by myself or with the group.
Miss Marzov, look. I helped him.
I like it.
I helped him.
We basically put the student's voice of how are they going to learn it. They're going to make the choice. We make sure that there's some actual plan in there, but we leave it open so that the students will have the chance to be the teacher, to lead.
What would you like to do today? Go ahead, Daniel.
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh?
I'll do that.
Who else was saying Play-Doh? Raise your hand if you thought. Kiss your brains. Great minds think alike. Ooh, all right. Play-Doh.
When the students lead the class, they own the class. And having that, they earn responsibilities and leadership skills.
All of the programs have a theme for the summer, whether it's a topic area like the ocean or a book that all of the students read together, the theme provides a natural way to link different subject matters and get the kids engaged.
We take a novel, but we create this big theme with it. All the elements from the games that we play to the STEM work that they're constructing, the research they're doing on elements of it, the vocabulary word. They're learning that it's everywhere because it's all day and we're all so excited about it. It's just they want to keep delving into it.
Having a theme really gets them involved. They're totally engaged. From the moment they get here, everything refers back to the book, and that just ties everything together.
I've had quite a few teachers who teach during the regular school year that have said that they're going to change their teaching practices based on their experiences here at summer.
I was able to use the summer program as a safe place to practice implementing Common Core before the school year began, and I have felt like it's been so successful.
What's been really exciting is that we're seeing a lot of momentum around summer learning with districts because they realize that in order to be successful in implementing the Common Core, they're going to have to try new things. And we're finding that districts are investing their LCFF money, Title I money, Title III, and they're engaging with community partners in order to put in place the kinds of programs that are going to get kids ready to be successful with the Common Core.
I'm not scared to go back to school anymore, so I'm really confident that I'll do well this school year.
All right, everybody, I love that video. And what I'd like to invite you now to do is to use the chat feature. I'm very interested to know, while you were watching and listening to the video, what did you notice? So tell us, what did you hear students saying? And what did you hear educators saying? And what did you notice about the environment? I'm going to give you just a second to type that in there really quickly. Smiling faces and redirecting. Love that. Engagement, lots of theme, absolutely. Students are campers, that's right, and staff are counselors. It's a completely different way of being. Collaboration, partnership, absolutely. And we see a blend of academic and enrichment. It's just a different setting, absolutely. And inquiry-based. Thank you so much for flooding chat with your what you captured and noticed. We agree. And we have some highlights that we would like to share with you. So students were saying, I'm going back to school this fall, ready to learn. And I'm successful. I love that. A successful, arms up, right? Educators saying that we're able to try on new teaching strategies, and that youth directed their learning and took ownership in the activities and their learning. And about the environment. And constructivism model was used. Everything was based in a theme and linked together. Also, that inquiry and SEL-based instruction was foundational. So these are really important things that we want to look for and plan for in our summer programming. So next, Mara, Camp Counselor Mara, is going to share with us how we can bring these qualities to life in our programs.
Thanks, Michelle. And I think one of the, you said it so well, and I love that video too, by the way, and I especially love this picture with all of the students in the forward looking lens, which is what we have to have when we are doing our summer planning. It requires us to look forward and also backwards map, for lack of a better word. And we really do have to begin with the end in mind. And so to incorporate a lot of those elements that we saw in the video and those that you just highlighted in our summary really requires us to convene all stakeholders, where we have the opportunity to really discover staff and students' interests and their strengths. And the slide that Mark shared on the basic requirements with those kids on the beach, I just have to give you a little story about that picture because we have a little bit of extra time, and it's a worthwhile one to share. That particular picture came from San Ardo, which is a frontier site in Region 5. And these particular kiddos and a lot of the leaders had not had an opportunity ever to be at the beach. They implemented their ELO-P summer program for the first time last year. And one of the questions that the superintendent asked of the staff is, what do you want to do that you have not had an opportunity to do before? And the beach was #1 on the list, was having an opportunity to actually expand kids' horizons by going out and exploring an environment that many of these students had never had the opportunity to explore before. So I just want to give a shout out to that picture and make that connection, because that was a very real photograph from last summer. And what I absolutely loved about it was the process, and the process was asking. It was convening stakeholders and asking them what they wanted to do and see in connection with a vision, and having some youth learning goals in mind. So what I'm going to share next, and I'm really excited about sharing this tool with you, a reflection tool, because I know sometimes it can be, you look at these videos and we talk about these quality elements and you go, oh my goodness, well, where on earth do I start? This was a tool that Region 5 developed in partnership with our Gilroy crew. They were a Summer Matters location many moons ago, it feels like. And I just want to give a shout out to them, because I'm going to share with you sort of their learning journey, our learning journey, as we discovered how do we really create intentional learning outcomes for summer. And it all really began on the left-hand side of this particular handout, starting with our expanded learning division vision, which Mark shared earlier in the opening, that our expanded learning programs are really an integral part of young people's education, right? Engaging them in year-round learning opportunities. Of course, that includes after school and summer and intercession that prepare them for college, career, and life. We started there and we said, okay, well, what's the district vision for student achievement? All districts have, all LEAs have their LCAP plans. Many of them, of course, have UPK plans now. And I would venture to guess we're probably in the midst of a plandemic. I know a lot of superintendents are in agreement with that. There are a lot of plans that we can pull from that really highlight the priorities of our LEAs relative to student achievement. And those are really important things to look at. Do you know what your district vision is? I know that on our learning journey, that was one thing that we discovered together, was that, whoa, we really do need to, we're not really quite sure of the exact wording and priorities. And in a moment, I'll show you a completed form. Next up was also looking at a department vision for the expanded learning program, as well as agency vision for expanded learning, because many of you as LEAs actually have subcontracted partners with really amazing community-based organizations in your communities. And so taking into heart also a consideration for the strengths that our CBOs bring, as well as their agency missions and visions as well. And then moving to the right-hand part of the column, after that work is kind of done, where you're able to really see those connections, is then creating an overarching expanded learning program goal, and then getting into some summer specific learning goals. And both of these pieces on the right-hand side really relate back to the specifics that are identified in your LCAP or other plans. They also really heavily lean on data that you may want to pull from, whether it's district data or even community data, conversations you're having with students and parents, community members. Those are also very important data sets that you're going to want to include and consider as you're developing these learning goals. So here's just a sample, and you're going to have access to all of this in the drive later, so not to overwhelm you, and I'm not going to read this to you right now, I promise. But I do want to highlight in yellow where you notice, as we were going along in our learning journey with Gilroy Unified, where you see the commonalities all the way through on the right, on the left-hand side, with the district expanded learning division vision and the superpower summer camp vision. Just take a moment to take a look at the yellow highlights. And now that you notice those connections, which are so strong, you look then on the right-hand side and you can see the overarching expanded learning program goals that they pulled out and teased out for the program itself. They were really, really interested at that time, and still are, about creating meaningful projects that allow for critical thinking and connections in an integrated approach to subject matter learning. They were really wanted to increase confidence and interest and participation, because at that time they were seeing kind of a disengagement. This was even pre-pandemic, so imagine what it must be like now. So those were some of their goals that they wanted to incorporate. And then from there went into some specific summer learning goals that were SMART goals. So we really encouraged in our learning journey to develop something that was specific. 85% of the participants, right? We named it. We've set our bar high. We also knew that the program was going to last 6 weeks. So we had to make sure that that was also included in the SMART goal. So you can see there, 85% of the Superpower Summer Camp participants will increase engagement in STEAM over the 6-week program. And then of course, naturally, we had to, as a community, define what did engagement mean? What on earth does that mean? Because that could mean a lot of different things to a lot of people, but as a collaborative community group, we collectively defined that, and you see that there. So you'll have access to this, and we want to, as a team, really encourage you, because of course we don't have time to do this with you right now, but we really encourage you to follow these steps, and we've outlined them here for you so that you can go back and do this process yourself as really the first step to creating a really high quality summer learning program. The plan alignment is really critical. And I think the hope here is that as we begin to see a greater cohesion among plans, that perhaps maybe one day, we can hope and dream, we'll have one unified plan. And I do think that this process allows us to get here and see the greater cohesion. But anyway, you'll see here, you know, what is just some prompts for you, what's your district's North Star, making sure that you're also creating a statement if you don't already have one for expanded learning program that connects to the California vision for expanded learning, as well as to your district vision, and underlining those connecting words and phrases, because I think that really makes that connection real. And then finally, brainstorming data sources. This is a really important part of this process of bringing the vision to life. And all the way through, mind you, and I want to underscore, bold, highlight, put in stars and glitter. Don't forget the why. Our students need to be front and center in all of this and everything that we do. So the data source is really important. It could be student data about academic achievement, but what else do we need to know about from our students that will make our program enriching, that will make sure that our program is really truly meeting the needs of our students and our families. And then within the summer learning goals, it's really creating something realistic. And I really want to emphasize the word realistic, because Michelle shared earlier that there's 2.5 to 3 months of learning loss during the summer. And that can sometimes be more or less depending on the communities we serve and the populations we serve and their individual needs. I always share with folks that while we may have a goal of trying to increase that reading or math achievement over the summer, while that may be a true goal we have, it's okay if the learning has not decreased. That is success in and of itself, because it's the learning loss we typically see when students aren't engaged in meaningful opportunities. So be realistic, be kind to yourself as you're developing these goals, but remember, please, the connection in heart and soul to our student needs. So in Gilroy on this journey, this was the end result. And you can see they ran a 6-week program this particular year. I pulled a sample from 2019 and a shout out to them. Thank you. But they had a 6-week program, and you can see they had several components, STEAM, Self, Vital, which was visual, and performing arts, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, feel free to add it in the chat, as well as enrichment or service learning. And what I love about this is that this overarching plan for what they were going to do in the 6-week program was connected back to the vision and the goals that they had established in a very intentional way. And you'll see at the bottom here under service learning, there was collaboration with community partners to make sure that that service learning component was really rich and embedded in the community, and that students were able to actually select topics, and staff had an opportunity themselves to develop the sessions that the students had chose weekly. And so that engagement of staff in the process of developing lessons connected to the theme and connected to the vision was very intentional on the part of Superpower Summer Camp. And I have to give kudos to them too, because you would walk on that campus in the summer, and although they had multiple partners, and you can see there, they had the district, they had South County CalSUP, they had Youth Alliance and the Y. You walk on any campus during summer and they are all part of Superpower Summer Camp. Everyone had the purple shirts. You didn't even know if they were a Y staff person or a Youth Alliance staff person, because in the summer, everyone came together in a really powerful collaborative way. And teachers were also very much engaged in this process of lesson development. So you'll have access to this. I really hope, we hope, and encourage you to go back and put some thought into it yourself. We've got this a scan code here to be able to access the fillable form. There's a bit.ly. I know Can will be sending it out, and it's probably already in the chat. But we really encourage you to go through this process, follow the prompts, do this this work for yourselves to make your summer learning program really meaningful and intentional. And with that, we're gonna close with a few tips before we turn it back over to Melissa and the CAN team and break out into our breakout groups. And my fellow camp counselors, feel free to chime in here after I'm done, but we want to leave you with some tips. And again, first and foremost, begin with that end in mind. Make learning fun and intentional. Remember those kiddos on the beach. That was the first time they ever were there. How did we get there? We got there because we asked a very vital question, and that was, what do you want to do this summer? What do you want to learn about? And this goes for staff too. Make learning fun. Outdoors as much as possible, although maybe not today. Tip 2, establish a unique program culture. And I think this is another really important piece. And you heard this also in the video, where choosing a theme is a very, very powerful way to start with a high quality summer learning program. Incorporate student voice and choice in there. And you can see in the summer crew, this was a Campbell location, and they had arrows moving in different directions. The students had a choice, of what club and activity they wanted to engage in. Over here on the left-hand side, the gentleman with the tub with watermelon was doing a composting lesson with kids outside. The theme of Pixar films, Adventures Out There, you may recognize the Up House. These are all very real examples of where student voice and choice were incorporated in. The learning was engaging, it was meaningful, it was hands-on. Tip 3, community partnerships. Certainly cannot do this without partnerships for field trips, either as program providers helping you to run your summer program, or even curriculum partners that may be out there. And so during the time of the Summer Matters campaign, we worked very, very closely with California State Parks Foundation, as well as the Library Association. Those are two very powerful, important partners to have that will really help in this, in the development of your program. And then finally, start small. I think sometimes it can be overwhelming thinking, wow, I have to do all of this on my own right now, this summer, and I only have a couple of months to do it. We really encourage you to start small and add an element each summer. So when Mark spoke of all of the quality standards and the learning and after school and summer principles, make sure that some of those elements, pick 1 or 2, maybe to start for the summer, and then add on each summer. And my computer just did something wacky. There we go. Hey,
No,
pass it
thank you.
to you, Mark.
No, thank you, Mara. And I just want to add, even for our rurals, since the pandemic, a lot of things shifted. You know, I know sometimes by our geographic location in the state, community partners may not be as prevalent as in other parts of the state, but also thinking about those virtual options we can beam in as well. You know, thinking of the California Academy of Sciences out of San Francisco, they have a sort of a STEAM facilitator that they can zoom into your site and lead students on an experiential type of virtual field trip that's dynamic and engaging. I'll also bring and drop in a link in a minute in regards to a click. And I see her on the call, Debbie Middleton in San Juan Unified here in Region 3, went out and visited her site in the academic year, but this is a resource that could be used during intersession periods as well. But there's a Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration, right? When I went out there that day, there's a multitude of partners that you could choose with. But the day I went out to her middle school site, she was beaming in a scientist from the Ann Arbor Hands-On Museum that was leading a cow-eye dissection with middle school youth there. All the materials were sent to the site. It is a fee-based program, but all the materials were sent to the site. The scientist was beamed into the room, and it was dynamic, engaging. The facilitators was asking questions to the youth. The youth were responding back. The youth could ask their own questions. So it was very, like, as I said, a dynamic and engaging type of experience. So also looking for those partners that may exist outside our geographic area that we can be able to bring into our sites. And I'll go ahead and drop that link for the click group there. But in today's folder, in regards to intersession, we have these following resources, but not limited to, you know, sample schedules, the documents and videos that were shared today, and then additional resources for the National Summer Learning Association, the QuickCast, an assessment tool that you may want to use. And then also there are many different resources that you'll have access to following today's session. But I also strongly encourage you to reach out to your regional support team, your system of support for expanded learning. Each region has one. So reach out to them and what resources they can convene, or maybe take you on promising practice site visits as well. But once again, I'm Counselor Mark from Sacramento County Office of Ed. Michelle or Mara, do you have anything to add?
I do. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for all of the work you're doing to support our students. Lean into this, explore with your staff, with your teams, with your kids in your community, and create a program that is really going to help you thrive this summer. Incredible opportunity really is ahead. So thank you for joining us, and on to you, Camp Counselor Mara.
Mm-hmm. And thank you both for joining me. There's so many on this call who have been a part of the Summer Matters campaign who can really be a resource to you. We, of course, 3 of us will be as well. I know you're going to find an array of resources available to you, and just know that when you open up the link to the folder, I think I put an asterisk on the ones maybe to start with, because you're going to see a lot in there, and we don't want you to be completely overwhelmed. But the low-hanging fruit are going to be your starred folders when you get access to that. So again, I echo Michelle's words. You know, have fun this summer. I think the beauty of the summer learning program and what makes it high quality in part is that it is a different type of learning experience for kids than what they experience during the school year. And we have this amazing opportunity to actually work in collaboration with our credentialed teachers to develop some of these lessons. And I will say that's the power in it, is that learning objective, that daily learning objective is embedded in there. It's customary and part of the core learning day. And to have this opportunity for credentialed teachers to work side by side with some of our IA or paraprofessional staff who work normally in the after school program is what a tremendous professional development opportunity it is for them as well. So everyone's coming back to school pumped up, ready to learn, ready to continue programming in the fall. So I just encourage you to have fun with it. Have fun with it. And thank you all so much for your time today. Melissa, before we break into session, I have one more connecting point to make about workforce. Because as I was on the workforce session yesterday, I think one of the challenges that we face in our field is that oftentimes we don't have 12-month employment for the younger college student who may be working with us, for example. The 12-month, the summer program allows for a 12-month schedule. And I know here in Santa Clara County, we have had a sort of a job share program over the summer that has been very successful, where we know, for instance, that the YMCA is running a lot of summer camps, whereas a smaller agency might not be running as many, but they don't want to lose good staff that they've trained and worked with throughout the year. And so oftentimes the staff from the smaller agency will move over to work with a YMCA camp in the summer. They'll be on this sort of share program, and then they'll return to their home agency in the fall. But this allows for a full year opportunity. So just wanted to make that connection between the conversation yesterday about workforce development and how summer is really an opportunity also to take a look at year-round employment for some of our really great staff. So with that, I'll pass it back over to you, Melissa, for next steps. And thank you all again.
Awesome. Thank you, Mara. If we can transition sharing screen so I can just go over a few final items. And while I get back to sharing my screen, I just wanted to add thank you so much for your patience while we updated some of the links for the resources. We will make sure all of those resources are uploaded to the website, to our CAN website. And so please don't stress. They will be accessible for folks to view them and download and have PDFs available along with the slide deck and the recording for today. So just give us a little bit of time and we'll get that up as soon as possible. So just wanted to make that quick announcement. Thank you again to our wonderful presenters who did an amazing job today. I'm super excited for young people and the summer opportunities that will be available to them. So again, hoping that this, the content today that was covered is helpful for folks in different parts of California. So thank you again to Michelle, Mara, and Mark. Fabulous presentation. Looks like I jumped ahead. Sorry about that. I know in the chat earlier, someone also mentioned or shared contact information to connect with the System of Support for Expanded Learning. We will add the bit.ly link in the chat, and we will also, you can also scan the QR code here, and that will take you to the CDE webpage, and it goes over in detail who the support team are for the different regions in California. So again, highly encourage folks to connect with the System of Support for Expanded Learning, or SSEL, as you might see in some of our resources. Today is the last day of our academy. I can't believe 4 days have already gone by. And so again, your feedback is very important to us as we CQI, continuous quality improvement, all of our different convenings and events and technical assistance and support offerings. Your voice is extremely important in how we design those. And so we'll add the URL, the tiny URL link in the chat in a moment, and you can also scan the QR code and it will prompt you to provide feedback on all of the workshops that were offered in this season's academy. And so if you didn't attend those, you can access resources. They're all available to the public on our webpage. But again, drop us some feedback on the sessions and how your experience was and ways that we might improve future offerings.